Welcome everyone to this session of mobile communication and computing. As the title suggests, it involves two parts, mobile communication and mobile computing. During this subject, these two parts are divided into two different sessions. Theory sessions will be dealing with mobile communication and lab sessions we will deal with mobile computing. In this particular video session, we will discuss only about mobile communication. So during this session, we will discuss the contents of the syllabus or contents of the subject, and we will start with the introduction. For better understanding of this subject or during certain aspects of this subject, we will require basic knowledge of computer networks. Which concepts will be required, that we will see in this session later on. So the first module is regarding introduction to the mobile communication. In this module, we will get to know what is mobile communication, what is mobile computing, which are the different generations involved in the mobile communication, and what is the concept called as cellular system, why we call our mobile phones as a cell phones. Then in this module, we also discuss certain technical specifications involved in the mobile communication systems. Then in the second module, we will discuss or we will study about different generations of mobile communication. Primarily 2G, 2.5G and 3G will be studied in this particular module. 2G better known as GSM, 2.5G better known as GPRS and 3G better known as UMTS will be studied in this particular module. Then in the third module, we are studying the layers of mobile communication system. In computer networks, we have studied OSI layer model, where we had different layers, right from physical to application layer. Those layers are applicable to fixed networks or wired networks. In this particular module, we will discuss or study the primary three layers of the system, that is medium access control layer, network layer which involves mobile IP, and transport layer which contains mobile TCP. So during study of this subject, we will require basic knowledge of computer networks, that is basic concepts of computer network like OSI layer model, different layers involved in that model, protocols involved in that model, and how they are different from layers involved in this mobile communication system. Then in the fourth module, we will discuss about wireless communication. Wireless communication is different from mobile communication. Wireless communication can be done by staying in one place. So in this module, we will discuss wireless LAN, Wi-Fi, that is IEEE 802.11, then security involved with the Wi-Fi, and technologies such as HyperLAN as a part of local area network. Then we will also study one personal area network technology, that is Bluetooth, which is available in our mobile handsets as well. So this is the fourth module. Now in the fifth module, we will study about challenges faced by the mobile communication system. The primary challenge of mobile communication system is a mobility of the user. Managing user mobility is a very tedious task for the system designers, because while moving, your communication should not be interrupted. So all the challenges and solutions related to mobility management will be discussed in this particular module. Then the last module introduces us to the fourth generation of our mobile communication, that is LTE, which we are currently using in the India. In this module, we will see the architecture of LTE, then components involved in this architecture. You can see VoLTE, that is called as voice over LTE, which we are using for internet access. That will be also studied in this module. Then at the end, we will study different version of LTE, that is self-organizing network LTE, and we will get introduced to the fifth generation of mobile communication system. So this is all about the contents of the syllabus. For studying this subject, you can refer any number of books mentioned in this syllabus, but I prefer these three books. First one is by author named Joshin Schiller. Book name is Mobile Communication, or you can use the book by William Stallings. Book name is Wireless Communications and Networks, or you can use Raj Kamal's mobile computing book for lab sessions also. So this is all about syllabus. Now let's start with the introduction to the mobile communication. Now when we talk about mobile communication, first thing we need to discuss is mobility. Now mobile communication means communicating using mobile devices or communication while being mobile. So obviously it has two aspects: user mobility and device mobility or device portability. We should be able to communicate while we are moving. At the same time, the communicating device has to be portable. We cannot communicate by taking wires along with us. In short, we should be able to communicate anytime, anywhere through any network. So these are the two aspects of mobility. Then if we have to talk about comparison between wireless communication and mobile communication, we can see different examples which fall under different category. Like desktop computer is a wired network, part of a wired network, because it cannot be taken from one place to another place. Also it requires wires for communication. Or if you are talking about PDAs like your tabs, mobile handsets or iPads, then we can take those devices anywhere, and at the same time we can communicate with the outside world wirelessly. So it falls under both categories. Now why mobile communication study is so important? In today's fast moving world, we don't want to waste any time. So whatever we are doing in a fixed network or wired network, we should be able to do while we are moving also. Let's say we are traveling to some other place. While traveling, we don't want to waste any time. So how can we create local area networks? How can we access internet? Or how can we communicate with the other types of networks like telephone network, which is a fixed network, or VoIP over WLAN or POTS. So demand for mobile communication creates the need for integration of these wireless communication networks into existing fixed network. We must be able to communicate with the fixed network while being mobile. So what are the applications of mobile communication? The first application that we are discussing here is vehicles. Vehicles are equipped with mobile communication system. They provide several advantages. Such vehicles can receive news, road conditions, weather conditions, or also it can be used for entertainment purpose, like listening to music through certain technologies like DAB or DVB. At the same time, these vehicles are equipped with making a call to another vehicle which is enabled by mobile communication system. Also, we can track the movement of these vehicles using a GPS. If we are traveling with mobile communication enabled vehicle, then we can prevent accidents, or we can guide other vehicles also for controlling the traffic or controlling the natural disasters as well. Also, let's take an example of trains traveling on the same track. If two trains are traveling on the same track, if they are not enabled with mobile communication, they will collide with each other. But if they are enabled with mobile communication system, then both trains can communicate with each other so that they can avoid the collision. So this is the application of mobile communication in case of vehicles. Then second application is in case of emergencies how mobile communication is useful. So let's say there is a accident on a road and an ambulance is taking the person to the hospital. So while traveling towards the hospital, we don't want to waste any time and avoid risk of losing the patient's life. So early transmission of patient's data such as its current situation, what is the first diagnosis of the patient, that can be communicated with the hospital, that is through the mobile communication. Then in case of natural disasters like earthquakes or hurricanes where there is no infrastructure left on the land, we can use mobile communication for communicating with our relatives. Then another application of emergencies is crisis and war. In war situations where there will not be any infrastructure available, soldiers can communicate with each other using walkie-talkies or some other devices as well. So this is emergencies application of mobile communication. Then third application of mobile communication deals with the travels. Let's take an example of traveling salesman. An employee of an organization, if traveling to a different city, during that travel it can access the files stored in a central location. It can not only access but it can update the data on those files saved in the central location while not losing the consistency of database. That can happen only because of mobile communication. Then there are certain situations where fixed or wired networks cannot be placed, like coal mines. In coal mines we cannot place wires easily, so we can use mobile communication to acquire data captured by the sensors and send that data to the central location far away from the coal mine. Then lastly but not least, for entertainment and education purpose also we can use mobile communication. While traveling, if you want to watch videos, if you want to access internet, or if you want to play games online, then mobile communication is very useful. Also, if we are traveling to unknown places, we can use GPS facility of the mobile communication for knowing the road towards the destination. So these are some of the applications of the mobile communication. There are many more. We can find that in several reference books as well. Now, up till now we have seen advantages or applications of the mobile communication. There are definitely certain challenges or limitations in the mobile communication. Let's discuss them one by one. First, let's discuss effects of device portability on the communication. Now, in mobile communication, communicating device is portable. That means it has a limited power supply. For example, mobile handsets or laptops come with battery, which drains out over the time. So power consumption becomes a major issue in the mobile communication. Now, amount of power consumed is directly related to certain aspects of the communicating device. Those aspects primarily are memory and processor. For example, processor amount of power consumed by the processor is related with the amount of memory present in the device, amount of voltage supplied to the device, and the frequency at which processor is running. For example, if we talk about a laptop with 3 GHz processor, it will consume more power compared to a laptop with 1.5 GHz processor. So our aim should be consume as much as less power as we can. Then the next limitation is limited user interface. Portable devices are normally small in size. So while accessing those devices, the user interface should be large enough so that it can be readable or accessible, and small enough so that it can be taken anywhere. Then next limitation is regarding amount of data that can be saved in such portable devices. For example, we can have a hard disk of 1 terabytes for desktop computers, but we cannot have such large memory available in our portable device. Reason being, larger the memory, more the amount of power it will consume, and we have limited power supply. So these are some primary limitations due to device portability in mobile communication. Then next set of limitations is how these mobile networks, or in short wireless networks, perform compared to the fixed networks. In fixed networks we have dedicated medium for communication, so there is lesser chance of loss of data. But in mobile communication or in wireless networks, there are higher chances of loss of data due to interference from atmospheric conditions like lightning, rain, noises coming from the atmosphere, and several other parameters. Then since wireless spectrum is limited in amount, that is amount of wireless frequencies available are very less in quantity, several applications are designated certain frequency band. So for example, if you want to communicate with satellite, you should use particular frequency band. If you want to use mobile handset for communication, you should use particular frequency band. So limited frequency range is another limitation of wireless network. Then another limitation or next limitation is low transmission rates. Now with fixed wired networks, we can transmit up to 10 Mbps, Gbps or several terabytes per second as well using different technology. But that is not possible with the mobile communication systems. As much as we talk about LTE, it provides the data rate of Mbps, but still it is lower than the data rate available in the wired networks. Also, since there is no dedicated path between transmitter and receiver, there are more delays and more problems of jitter in case of mobile communication. Mobile communication is wireless communication, that's why it takes certain time to set up a call or set up a connection, and then second thing is maintaining that connection. So that is another also limitation. Then since the communicating media is wireless, the security involved in the communication is also lower. Anyone can easily access the medium. Also, any attacker can easily tune to your frequency and listen to your data. So proper security mechanism should be deployed in order to make wireless communication effective. So that's some of the disadvantages, or we can say limitations, of the mobile communication or wireless networks.